over, but we begin tonight in the state of California, where the data on homicides and homelessness in some big cities is really staggering now. In Los Angeles, homicides are up 32% from last year. Homelessness has increased by 13%. San Francisco has seen a 31% increase in homicides, and the homeless population there has grown 17%. In Sacramento, homelessness is up 55%, homicides up 28%. All three cities, by the way, run by Democrat mayors, a point that was emphasized by the president in his press briefing just now. Governor Gavin Newsom, of course, is also a Democrat. And now California is a big blue state, but could what's happening there spark a change in down-ballot races as more and more voters get fed up with safety issues and the deterioration of life and the quality of life in their state? Let's talk about all this with former California Republican Party Chairman Tom Del Beccaro. Good to see you, Tom. Thank you for joining us. You know, I think of that movie Network, where the guy goes to in front of the camera and says, "I'm mad as hell and I can't take it anymore," and you got to raise your window and scream it out, and suddenly everybody is screaming, "I'm mad as hell." I get the sense that that's where Californians are right now. Am I wrong?
No, it's developing. That's why we have a recall petition and over 200,000 people have already signed, and there's going to be a record number of people signing that petition. And these cities are becoming ghost towns. Like my daughter went to San Francisco because it was a charming place. Now it's a place of homeless, drug activity, and some contractors working, but it's basically desolate. And so you ask the question, will that spread? Look, if you have policies where you overtax people and you don't provide them with electricity or water or public safety, they're going to leave those areas. And that's why California's led the nation with people leaving the state for better environs.
Now, I live in New York. In fact, specifically, I live in the Upper West Side of New York, which is about as close as you can get to California on this side of the coast, on this side of the nation. But we, too, even the most liberal friends that I have on the Upper West Side are beginning to think twice about voting Democrat this time, because they've seen what's happened to the city under de Blasio. They've seen what's happened to the state under Governor Cuomo, and they see what's happened to their weekly paychecks that keep getting more and more eaten up by taxes.
Yeah, absolutely. You remember New York under David Dinkins, when we were shrugging our shoulders, wondering whether it was governable. And it turned out it was, if someone came in and had thoughtful policies and didn't just let the criminals run amok. Well, that's what's happening in Portland. You saw today, Fox Business covered the story of a big employer leaving because it's just too dangerous there. In California, the high taxes and the debt, employers are going, like Tesla, to other places. And if you elected a Joe Biden and had those high tax policies, you'd see what money leaving the United States. Money goes where it's welcome. And California right now, why would you start a business here? They're talking about a wealth tax, David. That's the dumbest thing you can do, is to tax someone's savings, because they'll just say, I don't need to be here, I'll go somewhere else.
Well, we're going to talk about that later in the show with Andy Puzder, in fact, the wealth tax, whether they will advocate one as their party platform. But you know, at least Governor Cuomo seems to be aware that 50% of the tax revenue in New York comes from the 1% of the richest New Yorkers, and it doesn't take many of them to leave before the state is in complete bankruptcy. Doesn't the governor of California realize the same?
Not yet. And remember, it's not just taxing them. If they don't start up businesses in your state, they take those jobs with them, and those people don't get to work and pay taxes in the state. So it's not just taxing, I know you know this, it's not just taxing the person with the money, it's stopping the person with the money from opening up jobs. And in California, they still don't have that message. Remember, Gavin Newsom wants to be president in 2024, so he's still towing the far left line.
Right. Well, it'll probably still be a blue state in the presidency in terms of the voting for the president, but a lot of cities and states around the country may change to red as a result of what has been happening on our city streets. Tom, thank you very much for coming in. Tom Del Beccaro, appreciate it.